when I was a kid, I was a theater kid, and I did a lot of community plays and stuff like that. This was all very fun. I enjoyed it quite a lot. But I would also have this dream where I was up on stage and I wouldn't know what the play was, but I was supposed to start acting or something, right? And then everyone would get mad at me because I'm moving in the wrong places, I'm saying the wrong lines, I'm doing the wrong things. Um, and I think this sort of echoed sort of a bit of anxiety I have, uh, where a lot of times that's what it feels like in real life is everyone has these expectations of this is how you ought to behave and this is what you ought to do. Um, and I want to say if you relate to this and you're like, yeah, that's how people treat me. I'm anxious about that as well. I sort of, connect with what you're saying here. Then that is, well, I'm sorry to hear that, I guess, is the first thing. But also, I think you and I can rest in knowing that it doesn't matter what other people think. Because at the end of the day, it's actually the only person who matters is God, right? So as long as we're following what God wants for us, it doesn't matter what anyone else wants, right? Because everyone else will have contradictions. Some people will say you shouldn't wear hats in church. Some people will say you should wear hats in church. Some people will say you shouldn't laugh. Other people will say you should always laugh. You shouldn't do anything besides laugh. Right? So everyone's going to have these different opinions of how you ought to behave. And I think both the hardest and also in ways the easiest thing is that it doesn't matter what they think. What matters is what God wants for us. And it's like, okay, well, how do we know what God wants for us? And I think there's a few ways to figure that out. Number one being, of course, read the Bible and also praying. God's always with you and he'll answer you when you pray. What do you think? Am I crazy?